Man, MAGA are down bad at the moment. In this clip, we're going to see the phenomenal Brian Tyler Cohen literally just corner Katie Pavlich of Newsnation with one question, and you can see it completely undoes her entire argument, and she abruptly ends the interview. As usual, let's watch the clip in full. I'm going to hold my thoughts, my commentary, my perspective towards the end, and then I'll chime in then. Let's get into it.
And we are more than a month into the partial government shutdown and DHS funding freeze. And on top of the very real threats of sleeper cell attacks here in America, everyday Americans are also feeling the pain of long lines at the airport. That's because TSA agents aren't being paid until the Democrats are done grandstanding. And Democratic Congressman Don Beyer might have just said the quiet part out loud. He told Axios, "We're making people hurt. The long lines, that can't make us very popular." Joining us now is progressive YouTuber Brian Tyler Cohen. Brian, great to see you. Thanks for coming on tonight. So do you think it's time that Democrats vote to fund DHS?
Well, interestingly, the Democrats have put forward legislation, standalone legislation, to fund TSA. I mean, that's what we're talking about right here. So Republicans have the opportunity to fund TSA if they want to, but it's Republicans who have backed away from this. So I want to make sure that people know that there is standalone legislation to make sure that TSA agents get paid, CISA agents get paid, so that cybersecurity folks who work in the government also get paid. The holdup here is that there are a few conditions that Democrats are looking for ICE agents to make sure that they abide by in order for those to be funded. And look, I think that's warranted considering this is an agency that can't stop killing people on the streets of America. We saw it with Alex Petty, we saw it with Renee Good. And so I think having a few conditions like prohibiting ICE agents from wearing masks like no other law enforcement agent in this country does, and requiring them to display their IDs are completely reasonable.
Let's take a look at some of the concessions that the White House is willing to discuss with Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill to get DHS funded in the ways that matter. First of all, ICE is funded and through 2029. That happened through the big, beautiful bill last summer. So this fight in keeping the government shut down, not paying TS agents, not paying others in the government has nothing to do with that kind of funding. ICE is still funded. But in a letter to the White House, or from the White House to Senator Collins and Senator Brit this week, they have concessions about using expanded use of DHS body cameras, showing ID, as you just talked about, adhering to law and new oversight of detention facilities. There's a whole list of things they're willing to do to open up the government, and yet now you have TSA warning that airports may have to be shut down because Democrats continue to say, well, it's okay, while also admitting they're hurting people. Do you think this has any chance of backfiring on Democrats who have repeatedly voted not to open the government?
I'm curious if you support the standalone legislation to fund TSA then.
I think that they have to support the entirety of opening the government, including the Coast Guard and others who are working without a paycheck.
But we're talking about TSA, so why wouldn't you support standalone legislation to fund TSA?
I'm happy to talk about other aspects of DHS as well, and everybody who's working for free right now.
I mean, it's an easy question.
Threats from the rest. I do not. I support paying all federal workers who are working. I don't support paying only a few of them. And
so you don't support the standalone legislation. So you don't support the standalone legislation that would get TSA agents paid immediately.
I support opening the government for everybody who is working right now, and I support many of these concessions that the White House has said so that ICE can continue to do their jobs and remove very violent criminal aliens from our streets. Would you allow that to happen for ICE to continue to do their job so long as these concessions are made?
I think if concessions are made, then yeah. I mean,
then
like you said,
the letter.
I mean, it's not my job to do so, but I also think that it's a little bit disingenuous here to claim that Democrats are causing some big problem with TSA when they put forward standalone legislation to get TSA funded.
They're admitting that they're causing pain and long lines, but we got to go. Brian Tyler Cohen, we don't have as much time to stand in line tonight as they're standing at the airport, unfortunately. Thank you always for the debate.
As usual, what does she turn around and do? She abruptly ends the interview. This is the problem with someone like a Katie Pavlich, and this is the reason why mainstream media, not just in the United States, but also here in England, the problem for me is this: you shouldn't have news channels that lean a certain particular type of way. All you should have is a news channel that is simply going to provide the facts based on evidence of what is being put out there and what's being said. But because of the way that it is that we have our news set up in these countries, this is what happens. There's a few things that I want to touch on when it comes to this. Now, the reality is this: Brian landed a really good point and asked a really good question. And as you could see, Katie couldn't answer that question in an adequate way in any way, shape, or form. Because the reality is very, very simple. If TSA can be funded separately and ICE already has funding through 2029, then Republicans are the ones that are choosing this confrontation. They are the one that's choosing it. And then what they're trying to utilize TSA as the shining light, the example of, oh, this is what the Democrats are doing. The reality is this. It's not a thing of, this is what Democrats are doing. And furthermore, Donald Trump himself said, when you control the Senate, the House, as well as the presidency, like, that can only be on one individual. He said that, I think, when Barack Obama was president. So how comes now that's no longer the case? That's the first point. The second point that I want to touch on is this is very, very simple and straightforward, and I think very, very reasonable in light of what it is that we saw with Alex Pretty and Renee Good. All Democrats are asking for is very, very reasonable conditions. No masks, body cameras, visible ID, and accountability. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? If ICE aren't doing anything wrong, then why hide? Very simple, very straightforward. But this is what the problem is with someone like Katie Pavlich. She's not arguing and debating in good faith, because this is what MAGA do. They don't argue or debate in good faith. They have a narrative, they have an agenda, and they stick by that narrative. They stick by that agenda no matter what. And as a result of that, you then get grandstanding like this, where Katie Pavlich invites on someone like Brian Tyler Cohen, and she can't answer a simple question because of the fact that, like I said, it's not real. It's grandstanding. This is what it is that they're doing just to make people feel as if Democrats are doing something wrong, when in reality, this is all Republican-led. This is all what the Republicans are doing. You can see even in the messaging that it is that they're putting out, they're just trying to put the onus on the Democrats. But the reality is this isn't down to Democrats. It's not. A TSA standalone funding bill was put forward and Republicans are refusing it. That's just the truth. That's the truth, and that's exactly the way that it is. But this is how MAGA are. This is how they conduct themselves, and this is how it is that they act. And we shouldn't be surprised in any way, shape, or form. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this clip down in the comment section below. Did you see how Brian Tyler Cohen absolutely stunned her with the one question? She could tell she was struggling to answer it, and that threw her off guard a bit because it just highlighted the contradiction that Katie Pavlich made within the video itself. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. As well as that, do me a favor, hype this video up and get this video in front of as many people as possible. Subscribe if you're interested in a Brit's point of view on all things to do with American politics. I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys in the next clip.